What's up, everybody? It's Lexi D here, coming to you all with another video. And this one we are going to be talking about being thankful for your struggle, being thankful for your quarter life crisis, which is a struggle. So if you want to hear more, then keep watching and let's get started. Quarter life crisis, what is it? If you don't know, well, it's a period that is experienced, a period. It sounds like a woman's period. It is a period in time, there we go, a period of time experienced in one's 20s, one's early 30s, where you're pretty much asking the questions of what is my life's purpose? What was I put here to do? Two really loaded questions, and two questions that when you start asking yourself can create a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. I have an entire video where I'm in the pits of my quarter life crisis. I'm gonna have a link to that below and also a link in this video. But yeah, it's a lot to have to deal with, and I know your first reaction is probably, why are you telling me to be thankful for this crisis? Are you sure you've been through this before, Lexi D? Because this shit is hell. I have been going through this for over a year now, and I still can't figure out what I'm passionate about. I still can't figure out what I love to do. I still can't figure out what my life's purpose is. So how are you gonna possibly tell me to be thankful for this when I feel like I can't even get through it? Understand that if you set your intention to get through it, first and foremost, you will get through it. Many people, depending on your reaction to the quarter life crisis, is really going to dictate if you get to a point where you actually get through it. You have pretty much two options. Number one, the option that I think a lot of people take is to suppress that, to not even deal with whenever that question comes up, deciding, hey, I don't want to deal with it. It's too loaded of a question. Let me drink some alcohol and put some alcohol on top of it. Let me do some drugs and have some drugs on top of it. Let me just get out of my mind. A lot of people do things to escape. They do things that drive them into the present moment so that they don't have to think about their future. They don't have to think about these really tough questions. Now, why I say to be thankful for your quarter life crisis is because we all know about a midlife crisis. It's typically when men decide to go out and buy a sports car. Women, I guess, typically cut off their hair. Is there a stereotype for women who go through a midlife crisis? I'm not really all that sure. But midlife crisis and quarter life crisis, the ideas behind them overlap, where you're asking this question of what is your life's purpose? I think more so with the midlife crisis, it's more of it becomes even more, urgent because you probably have less years in front of you than you do behind you. Whereas with a quarter life crisis, it's urgent, but it's a little bit more unnerving, where you feel like you're never going to figure it out. I, of course, don't know all that much about a midlife crisis because I'm still in my 20s myself, but being someone who can say that I have gone through my quarter life crisis and honestly feel like I have thrived out of it, I can tell you firsthand that it is very, very beneficial. And I say it's beneficial because I can imagine that once I do, hopefully, get to my 50s, I probably won't go through a midlife crisis. I've already been through the process of questioning my life's purpose, questioning what I'm here to do. I do feel like that answer kind of evolves as you grow with time. You know, you have different chapters, so you have different purposes. And I think that's part of exploring your quarter life crisis, is really understanding that there's not going to be one right answer. And instead of asking yourself such a loaded question of what is your life's purpose, saying to yourself, I'm going to do things that I enjoy more, it's going to be more helpful for you, I think, than trying to question yourself about kind of what it is that you're put here to do. I think by the time that you do figure that out, that you do have an answer to that question, it's probably going to be when you're closer to life ending. I just say to enjoy life, do things that you like to do, and I think that, you know, the purpose will follow in that. I don't think there's any purpose in doing things that you don't like to do. And for me personally, my purpose in life is to live on purpose. It may sound like a cop-out to some people, but for me, that means being mindful of every decision that I make and understanding that at the end of the day, I can really do what I want to do, and I have more power. I have more agency in my life than I even realize. I don't have to be a victim in life. I can easily take life and mold it into my hands. So again, being thankful for your quarter life crisis, especially when you're going through. When you get to that other side, should you choose to, instead of suppressing it, actually go in there and ask those tough questions and experiment and try to see the things that you actually really do enjoy with life, I guarantee you, you are going to come out on the other side so much more grateful and so much more happy, because guess what happens when you are asking those questions of what is your life's purpose and what do you enjoy? When you start to explore those things and start to accept those things and live those things, and you live a more purposeful life as a byproduct. If you decide to go down the road of suppressing it and, you know, just not wanting to deal with that, then of course by the time, you know, you get into your midlife, it's going to completely, I would think, explode. So whatever you didn't deal with, whatever emotions we don't deal with, I've said this in so many videos, it's going to come out at some point. I am someone who I would much more prefer that my emotions sometimes just shoot and go away. But that's not what happens with them. It is a fallacy to ask yourself, how can I get rid of this emotion? Instead, understand why that emotion is there, accept it, and it will leave. But the more you resist it, I have this quote actually on my closet mirrors. Whatever you resist in life will persist. So accept the present moment as if you had chosen it. And so that includes accepting your quarter life crisis. I understand it is tough. I understand it is rough. But I'm going to keep on hammering this into you. It's going, whether you answer the questions now, the questions are going to still be there. It's always going to be there until you actually take the time to sit down with yourself and face them. And I don't think that these questions have to be something that has to be so huge. It can be something, if you look at it in a different perspective, to drive you to live a purposeful life. Because imagine if you never ask these questions and you just get into the rat race of things. Then all of a sudden you get towards the end of your life and you're looking back like, where did the time go? And what the fuck did I do with my time in the meantime? A quarter life crisis, a midlife crisis, both of them, in my opinion, serve as a checkpoint for you. As a way to say, how can I make my life intentional? How can I make my life purposeful? How can I make my life full of joy, full of aliveness? Because at the end of the day, y'all know this, we only have one life. And I don't think we truly understand that until something pushes us to have to, whether it's having a near-death experience, whether someone close to us, whether someone close to us kind of passes on. I think having a quarter life crisis, having a midlife crisis is the closest thing that we get to being pushed into the present moment, and also having this understanding that life is temporary, and so we have to make it what we want to make it. You don't have to be a victim in life. You can take life, you can mold it. You can take life and you can enjoy it. I know there's a lot of things that we feel like we have to do, but when you're going through your quarter life crisis, take that time to really question everything. Question every belief, question everything that anybody's told you. Anytime you feel like you should do something, question why it is that you feel like you should. Because the sooner you start to answer those questions, when you do get to a place where you feel comfortable answering those questions and you feel very confident in your answers, life is going to be so much easier, and it's going to be so much more purposeful for you. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe because I post new videos every week. If you haven't already, I want you to check out my vlogging channel and my blog. I will have links to both of those below, and I will see you all in my next video. Deuces.